and everyone will notice. So probably that's why I got so many compliments. I really, really love it. It lasts a long time. I get anywhere between 8 and 12 hours. This one is my favorite. It's so, so good. It smells very luxurious. Limited edition. Hi guys, welcome to my channel. My name is Giselle. I review perfumes. Welcome if you're new, and welcome back if you're one of my loyal returning subscribers. So guys, today I'm going to share with you my most complimented fragrances of 2025. I kid you not, all these fragrances I'm going to share with you today never fail to get me compliments almost every single time I wear them, including one that it's pretty new in my collection, but regardless, it always gets me compliments. So if you want to learn more about these fragrances, let's dive in. So the first fragrance I'm going to share with you today is Libre Vanille, which is the latest release by YSL. It's the latest lip flanker, and I'm in love. I have to tell you, this is my favorite lip flanker. So far, to me, Lip Intense was unbeatable, followed by Le Parfum, but this one is my favorite. It's so, so good. It's very luxurious. It smells very luxurious. My understanding is that it is a limited edition. It smells so goodness, it's so beautiful. It smells so luxurious. This is an ambery gourmand fragrance, but not gourmand in an edible level. This doesn't smell like cake or pastry or anything like that, although the vanilla is very prominent. It's very ambery, very resinous, very deep. Wow, it's so alluring, so lush. It has a very strong orange blossom note, and I also picked tuberose, although tuberose is not listed as a note, but tuberose and orange blossom are both white, kind of indolic flowers. And white flowers, especially the most indolic ones, have similar chemical compounds that sometimes overlap, and especially when they are processed to be used in perfumery. Sometimes in the case of orange blossom, for example, it can pull a little bit like tuberose when tuberose is not even listed as a note, and vice versa. Sometimes you're smelling a tuberose center fragrance, and sometimes you can also pick orange blossom, although orange blossom is not part of the composition. But as I said, when flowers belong to the same category, some chemical compounds may overlap. Now the lavender here, it's also pretty strong and kind of balances the vanilla, which, let me tell you, the vanilla here is not just any vanilla, it's vanilla caviar, which is a premium vanilla extract that's being curated for over 18 months. So it's very concentrated, and it gives the fragrance a very strong vanilla scent without being gourmand. To me, this is a very dense, kind of heady fragrance, very creamy, very narcotic, and that's coming from the orange blossom, especially that it's pulling like tuberose here. So we have that heady, creamy component that makes the fragrance extremely sultry, sensual, deep, alluring, and makes it a typical nighttime scent. This is a showstopper, massive compliment getter. Although it recently joined my collection, I can tell you that in just a few weeks, it got me more compliments than fragrances that I've had in my collection for years. So this is definitely a compliment getter. It's very strong, very bold. This is not for the faint of heart, and it's perfect for this time of year. Lasting power is incredible. It lasts anywhere between 10 and 12 hours on my skin. It has an above average projection in the first 2 hours, but it never becomes a skin scent. Even when it settles down, when it dries down, you'll have to rub it off in the shower because it's very potent. It's a limited edition, so I'll link it down below in case you want to check it out, because once it's gone, unless YSL decides to keep it as a permanent option. But for now, my understanding is that it is a limited edition. And let me tell you something. If this fragrance had a color, it would be gold. They couldn't have chosen a better color. I can't imagine this fragrance having a different color other than gold, because this represents the fragrance to perfection. And guys, it's very luxurious, very expensive smelling. The bottle alone is so luxe. I love it. I absolutely love this fragrance. The next fragrance on my list today, my next compliment getter, is Sirène by Fragrance du Bois. This perfume is so stunning, so stunning. Let me show you the bottle first. With the Swarovski crystals here. It's so pretty and it's very strong. Now, let me tell you something. Don't get fooled by the pink bottle and the pink crystals, because there's nothing super girly, delicate. There's nothing subtle here. It's a very strong, very bold fragrance. It's very feminine. I think this is not a unisex scent. Of course, you can wear whatever you want. This is my personal opinion, 100% subjective. I think this is a very, very feminine scent. It has cherry and pepper in the top notes, so it opens pretty punchy, pretty spicy, with a very prominent cherry, but it's one of the few fragrances, one of the few cherry fragrances on the market where the cherry doesn't smell like cough syrup. I have issues with many cherry fragrances out there. Although I love the cherry note, it's hard for me to find a cherry fragrance, a cherry dominant fragrance, where I can truly smell the fruit. It's very fruity and very spicy in the opening, and zero resemblance to cough syrup. So if you're like me and you have the same issue with cherry fragrances, this one is definitely worth trying. So good. It's also very woody. It has wood in the composition, but it's also very milky. So the milky lactonic notes tone down the wood and also the labdanum in the base. This fragrance has labdanum in the base. For some people, that's a turn off. Labdanum, it's a very tricky note. Personally, I love it, but many people don't like it. However, don't worry, because those milky notes will take care of that. 𝗬𝗏 is very sexy, slightly spicy, especially in the opening. It's very deep, super long lasting. It's very sexy. It's feminine, very feminine. It's also pretty woody. I really love it. It lasts a long time. I get anywhere between 8 and 12 hours, and that's without even overspraying. And it really depends. Sometimes I notice that the colder the weather, the longer it stays on my skin and the less fragrance I need. So let's say between 8 and 12 hours, that's a good estimate. But at the very least, it lasts 8 good hours. So it's really long lasting. It has incredible projection. I think projection is equally or even more remarkable than lasting power. It really fills up a room with only 2-3 spritzes. Main character energy, 100%. If you haven't yet, you need to try 𝗬𝗏 by Fragrance du Bois. So the next fragrance on my list is Divina by Paradis des Scents. I'm completely obsessed. I really fell hard for it, and I couldn't stop wearing it ever since it joined my collection a few months ago. It's absolutely stunning, guys. It's so creamy, so lush, so sultry, very creamy, very heady. It always reminds me of Rouge Malachite. In fact, I said that in one of my previous videos when I did a full review of this fragrance. I would put Divina in the same category as Rouge Malachite. Both are very sultry, very alluring. Both are compliments galore. They are incredibly sexy, very intoxicating. I think this one gets me even more compliments than Rouge Malachite. They are quite similar. Scent-wise, they are not so similar. Don't think this is a dupe or anything like that. Actually, they are completely different fragrances. However, they do share similarities to a point that when I wear Divina, it reminds me of Rouge Malachite and vice versa. I'll say Rouge Malachite, it's a little bit more formal, if you will, but both are day or nighttime type of scent. I think they are more nighttime type of fragrances. However, you can wear them whenever you want. Now, Divina in particular, it's very intoxicating. It's very sultry, very sensual. I think even more than Rouge Malachite. And for that reason, to me, it's a perfect nighttime scent, especially a day-night type of fragrance. It's sweet, incredibly resonant. And what I like about this fragrance is the balance between the sweetness and the resonance aspect, in contrast with the fruity, actually citrusy notes like orange and mandarin. We also have orange blossom here, which is pretty prominent. So we do have that white floral heady component that makes fragrances extremely sexy, sensual, deep, sultry. So if you like orange blossom scents, this one is a must try. Incredibly beautiful. It lasts 10 hours on my skin, sometimes even more. It smells incredible in high heat and high humidity. However, I think it's an all year round type of scent. What can I say? Divina is a must try. It's so beautiful. I hate to repeat myself, but it is so beautiful, you guys. If you like deep, sweet, creamy, kind of heady fragrances, very sultry, very sensual, with a very strong presence and great lasting power, then Divina is a must try. So the next massive compliment getter I want to share with you today is Sunset Caramel by 𝗏𝐸. I absolutely love this fragrance. I fell in love super hard with it just through a sample. I like it so much that I did something that I usually don't do, because just because I like a sample, I don't go and buy the fragrance immediately. If I really like, or if I think it has potential, I usually buy a second sample or a second decant. And with this one, it was like love at first sniff. I didn't even have to buy a second decant. I finished my sample and I placed the order. It's that good, at least in my opinion. This is very personal, you know. So what do we have here? Sunset Caramel, it's a dreamy fragrance. It's very fluffy, it's fruity. It's a very fluffy, fruity, creamy, lactonic caramel scent. Caramel is very prominent. I would say caramel and coconut are the most prominent notes here. Oh my god, it's so good, so intoxicating. It's a very fruity, floral, musky, lactonic, almondy type of scent, but still very, very classy, very elegant, nothing cloying here. We're talking about grown-up gourmands. It's very creamy, very lactonic, both. In my previous video, I explained the difference between creamy and lactonic notes. In this case, we have both. Now, it also has a very strong, pretty strong, I would say, almondy note. So there is some nuttiness here that comes from the almond note, which is in the base. Now the coconut here doesn't smell like ice cream, doesn't smell like custard, and it doesn't smell like suntan lotion. It's coconut done in a very elegant way. It's a very exotic fragrance. I've never smelled anything like this before. Very unique. It's very unique, but it doesn't make you feel like you're an alien if you wear it, if you know what I mean. Because sometimes that uniqueness factor can get a little bit off the rails. But in this case, yes, it's a very unique fragrance. However, as I said, it's still very wearable, very versatile as well. When I first got it, I thought this will be a perfect spring, summer, especially summer type of fragrance. However, now that temperatures are dropping, I can tell you that this is an all year round type of fragrance, 100%. Yes, it might pull a little bit more coconutty during the summer, but aside from that, I can tell you that at least I plan on wearing this perfume all year round. It's just too beautiful to make it a seasonal fragrance. As I said at the beginning, this is a very fluffy, airy type of caramel scent. Caramel note, it's very prominent, especially as the fragrance transitions and it starts settling down. It lasts about 4 or 5 hours on my skin with average projection in the first hour, hour and a half, and then it becomes a skin scent. It is, I think it's a very intimate type of fragrance, so it's perfect for date nights. So if you like creamy, sweet, lactonic, slightly fruity, slightly coconutty type of scents that don't smell like suntan lotion, this fragrance is a must try. Sunset Caramel by 𝗏𝐸. And the last compliment getter I have for you today is Young Rose by Byredo. I don't know if you heard about this fragrance. I think it doesn't get all the love it deserves. It's very, very pretty. It's a very different take on your typical rose fragrance. In fact, that's why they call it Young Rose. Not because it's for young people necessarily. It's, to me, actually, it's an ageless fragrance. However, the house wanted to create a fresh perspective on a typical rose musk scent. The house wanted to create a new perspective. They wanted to reimagine a typical rose musky fragrance, and they came up with Young Rose. It's so, so pretty, so different, so nice. It's very clean, ultra clean, like most fragrances from this house. It's very spicy in the opening, quite spicy. It also has ambre, so it's slightly musky in the opening as well. And it's basically a rose fragrance, but again, it's a very different take on the typical rose. It's musky. It's very clean, but it's also very buttery. It has oils in the heart. As I always say, the heart of the fragrance is what the fragrance is about. So I can smell the oils pulling right in the opening, and that tells me it's one of the main components of this fragrance. It also has ambroxan in the base. Ambroxan usually gives a very subtle woodsy scent and also helps with longevity and projection. This is a very long-lasting fragrance. I think it's one of the longest lasting from Byredo. It has incredible projection. It's slightly dewy as well, and that kind of balances the powdery, buttery aspect of the 𝗏𝗏. It's also very comfy, very clean, very musky, especially in the dry down. All that buttery 𝗏𝗏 starts to pull a little bit more powdery. It's not extremely powdery, don't worry about that. But yeah, there is some powderiness that you can pick more in the dry down together with the musk, making this fragrance very, very comfy, as I was saying. I haven't mentioned the rose here because, believe it or not, although this is a rose fragrance, to me the rose here is not really prominent. Of course you can smell the rose, definitely the rose is here, but it's not so prominent, at least not in the traditional way, and actually that reflects what this fragrance is about. It's a non-traditional rose scent. So if you like clean, musky, slightly floral, slightly citrusy, slightly green type of scents, this one is a must try. Very versatile, and completely ageless. It lasts about 6 hours on my skin. Projection is remarkable. Projection is about average. And yeah, it kind of becomes a skin scent after the 2-3 hours mark. But during the first 2 hours, 3 hours, the fragrance really, really projects and everyone will notice. So probably that's why I got so many compliments. But this perfume always get me compliments. And for the most part, I don't know if that's been your experience so far in the fragrance world and with people around you, but most people prefer clean, subtle fragrances rather than those beast modes. I think the very strong type of scents are very hyped in the fragrance community, but for the most part, people, if they are into fragrances, they tend to gravitate towards clean, soft, floral type of scents. Anyway, to each their own. You can wear whatever you want, whatever brings joy to your life. So if you haven't yet and you like this type of scent profile, I highly encourage you to try Young Rose. So guys, thank you for joining me today. These were my top complimented fragrances of 2025. Actually, I have more fragrances that got me tons of compliments this year. Let me know in the comments below if you'd like to see a part 2. And if you're new to my channel, thank you so much for stopping by. Thank you so much for watching until the end. And if you enjoyed my video, I would highly appreciate if you subscribe to my channel. And please don't forget to hit the bell icon so you won't miss my upcoming videos. Stay safe and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye.